The hill at Senlac Ridge is trembling. Shields slam against shields, and the air rings with the hiss of arrows. The year is 1066, and England is a prize that 3 men covet. King Edward the Confessor has died without an heir, leaving a throne contested and a kingdom on edge. Harold Godwinson, the powerful Earl of Wessex, has been crowned king. William, Duke of Normandy, claims Edward promised him the crown years earlier. And far to the north, Harold Hardrada, the legendary king of Norway, also presses a claim, allied with Harold's own brother Tostig. England is not just a patch of fertile soil, it's a crossroads of wealth, trade, and prestige. Whoever sits on its throne controls a rich realm at the edge of Europe, a springboard for power across the Channel and beyond. For William, this is destiny. He's built his duchy on ruthless skill and iron discipline, and he believes the English crown is his by right. For Harold, it's survival. He's the last great Anglo-Saxon warlord, raised on the hard politics of England's court. If he falters, his family's power and England's independence will crumble. And so, in the autumn of 1066, armies march. Oaths, papal banners, and blood feuds converge on a green hill near a small town called Hastings. The battle that will decide the future of England is about to begin. Harold Godwinson moves first. In September, while William prepares his fleet across the Channel, Harold is forced to race north. The Norwegian King Harold Hardrada and Tostig have landed with a massive army at the River Humber. At Stamford Bridge, Harold smashes them in a brutal fight, killing both Hardrada and Tostig. But victory comes at a cost. His housecarls are bloodied, and his fyrd, the part-time militia of free men, is exhausted. Even as his men are tending wounds, news arrives: William has crossed the Channel. Down in Normandy, William's preparations have been nothing short of meticulous. He's gathered knights and soldiers from across France, promising them land and plunder in England. The Pope himself has blessed his cause, sending a consecrated banner. His fleet, hundreds of ships, ferries across not only men but also horses, siege equipment, and supplies. This is not a raid. It's an invasion designed to crush England's leadership and replace it with a Norman order. Harold's march south is a race against time. He covers nearly 200 miles in under 2 weeks, pressing his men to their limits. He hopes to catch William off guard before the Norman army can dig in. But William is ready. By the time Harold arrives, the Normans have established a fortified base near Hastings, with access to their ships and supply lines. The stage is set. Harold Godwinson is no stranger to war. Tall, imposing, and decisive, he commands loyalty from his elite housecarls, heavily armed bodyguards trained since youth. But his army is a patchwork, professional warriors at the core, surrounded by the fyrd, men summoned from farms and villages, many wielding whatever weapons they can bring. William of Normandy is cut from a different cloth. A seasoned campaigner, illegitimate at birth but forged into a duke through violence and cunning, he knows how to command disciplined troops. His army is a composite of Norman knights, Breton auxiliaries, and soldiers from Flanders. He brings with him not only superior cavalry but also a clear, methodical plan of attack. The Anglo-Saxon army's strength lies in the shield wall. Each man's shield overlaps the next, forming a living barrier of wood and iron. Behind it, axes and swords can hack at any enemy who dares approach. The housecarls wield the fearsome Dane axe, a massive two-handed blade capable of splitting shields and helmets. If the wall holds, it is almost impossible to break head-on. The Normans, however, bring something different: mobility. Their knights are among the best in Europe, trained to charge in waves, wheel away, and strike again. They're supported by archers and crossbowmen who can soften up the enemy before the cavalry hits home. William plans to use this combined arms approach to wear down the English, force mistakes, and break the shield wall from within. Senlac Ridge, later called Battle Hill, is Harold's chosen ground. It's a long, sloping rise with marshy land on either side. By occupying the high ground, Harold hopes to force William to attack uphill, blunting the Norman cavalry. His men dig in, planting their shields firmly and preparing for the onslaught. Behind them lies the road to London. If they break here, nothing stands between William and the English heartland. William surveys the ridge below. He knows a frontal assault will be costly, but he has little choice. His supplies are limited, and he cannot sit idle while Harold gathers reinforcements. If he does not strike now, the English might outnumber him. Dawn breaks on October 14, 1066. Mist curls off the fields. The Normans assemble in 3 divisions: Bretons on the left, Normans in the center under William himself, and French and Flemings on the right. Below the banners of the Papal Cross and William's personal standard, priests bless the troops. Trumpets blare. On the ridge, Harold's men tighten their formation. They have no cavalry, no archers in significant number, but their position is strong. They plant their feet, gripping axes and spears, shields overlapping. They've been awake since before sunrise, praying, sharpening blades, and watching the enemy gather below. The 2 armies face each other in silence for a heartbeat, the wind whipping through banners. Then the first horns sound. Archers notch arrows. Horses paw the ground. The Norman line begins to advance. A single arrow hisses upward and arcs over the hill. Then 100 more follow. The Norman archers loose their first volleys, darkening the pale morning sky. Shafts rattle off Anglo-Saxon shields, glancing harmlessly down the slope. The shield wall holds. Below, the Norman infantry surges forward, spearmen and swordsmen climbing the slope in dense ranks. They crash against the English line with a roar of iron and oak. Axes sweep down, biting through helmets. Men fall screaming into the mud. For a moment, it seems as if William has thrown his army into a grinder. Hour after hour, the pattern repeats. Arrows, infantry assault, then retreat. Each time, the Anglo-Saxons stand firm. Their shield wall bends but does not break. The slope blunts the Norman charge, the mud drags at their boots, and the English axes take a grim toll. Harold himself can be seen behind the line, moving from point to point, raising his sword, calling out encouragement. William watches from below, jaw clenched. His cavalry is restless, his infantry shaken. If the English line cannot be broken, the invasion could collapse here and now. Then, in the late morning, something unexpected happens on the Norman left. The Breton contingent wavers under the hail of axes and jeers from the English. They break and begin to run downhill. The Anglo-Saxon right, sensing victory, surges forward in pursuit. Harold's orders to hold position are drowned in the noise. William sees the opening instantly. He spurs his horse, rides into the fleeing troops, rallies them, and wheels them around. As the English pursuers stumble out of formation on the open slope, Norman cavalry smashes into them from the flanks. The slaughter is sudden and decisive. Hundreds of Englishmen are cut down. A gap yawns open on Harold's right. What began as panic becomes tactic. William realizes the power of the feigned retreat. He will use it again. Through midday, the Normans change their rhythm. Archers loose at a higher arc, trying to drop arrows behind the shields. Infantry presses, then falls back deliberately. Each time, clusters of eager Englishmen break ranks to follow, and each time Norman horsemen sweep in to kill them. Slowly, the once solid wall erodes. By afternoon, Harold's army is still holding the crest, but its flanks are fraying. Housecarls fight like demons at the center, but the Effie, farmers and freemen, are tiring, wounded, thirsty. The sun dips westward. The battlefield is a churned mass of corpses and broken weapons. Flies already buzz in the warm air. William presses one final assault. He orders his archers to aim high, raining shafts down over the shields. Then he leads a combined charge, infantry and cavalry together. The English center reels under the impact. Somewhere in the chaos, Harold Godwinson is struck. Whether by an arrow in the eye, as legend claims, or cut down by Norman swords, the effect is the same. The king falls. His housecarls fight to the last man around his body, but with their leader dead the line collapses. Norman knights surge over the crest. The Anglo-Saxon army disintegrates, fleeing into the woods. Some fight on at a last stand called the Malfosse, but by nightfall the field is William's. England's last Anglo-Saxon king lies dead on the hill. The victory at Hastings is more than a battlefield triumph. It opens the road to London. Within weeks, William is crowned King of England at Westminster Abbey. The Norman Conquest begins. Castles rise across the countryside, lands are confiscated, a new aristocracy takes root. French becomes the language of power, reshaping English forever. For centuries, the consequences ripple outward. The feudal system deepens. England turns toward continental Europe. The Doomsday Book, the Tower of London, and the blending of Norman and Anglo-Saxon culture all stem from this single day's violence. Hastings marks not just a change of kings, but a transformation of a nation. On that October afternoon, atop a small ridge in Sussex, the fate of England shifted. A single battle ended an era and began another. The shield wall broke, a king fell, and a new order rose from the blood-soaked grass. History remembers the Battle of Hastings as a clash of knights and axes, but it was also a lesson in preparation, adaptability, and the power of leadership. One moment of overconfidence, one feigned retreat, and an entire kingdom was lost. If you enjoyed this story of tactics and turning points, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss our next video.